Hi everyone, my name's Ron Van Sessen. I'm a doTERRA wellness advocate and I teach science, sourcing, and supplements. And I am very excited to be here with you again for this particular video. This is number 4 in my series on metabolic health. And we've been following this pattern where we first talk about science and then we talk about sourcing and then we tie it together with a supplement that includes all those things. And so that was my first 3 videos. So now we're back to science again for video number 4. Tonight we're going to be talking about omegas. And so we're going to be focusing on the science of omegas. I'm going to define for you what an omega is and give you a little background information. We're going to break them down, kind of take them apart. And then we'll figure out why they're so important to us, okay? So that's kind of the plan for tonight's video. We're not going to get too technical. I just want you to have enough background that you understand what this is so that when you're out there, you know what to look for, okay? So what is an omega? An omega is it's a fatty acid. And fats get a lot of bad rap in our diets today, right? We all hear, we should eat fat free. We should, we're not talking about that now. That's not part of what we're talking about tonight. Because the fats we're talking about, these fatty acids, these omegas, are very important to us. We don't work without them. Our bodies will not function. Our brains will not function without them. It's very important that we understand that. So we're talking about something very healthy, a very healthy nutrient. Healthy fats are one of the most critical parts of our diet. We have to keep that in mind. So let's talk about what an omega is. And when we think of an omega, I want you to think of a piece of chain. We know what a chain looks like. It's got a number of links kind of interconnected. And that's exactly what an omega is. It's a chain. And depending on the type of omega it is, it may be a short chain, it may be a long chain, it may be a really long chain. There's all these different kinds. And they all kind of serve their purpose. Now these chains, the links inside of these chains are actually carbon. So it's a link, it's a chain of carbon links all strung together. Now in between these carbon links, we have bonds. And there's little bonds that occur there. And these bonds kind of help us define what kind of an omega we have, what kind of omega this is that we're dealing with. So I'm going to give you some examples here. If all of the bonds between the links of carbon are single bonds, then we have what is called a saturated fat. However, if at least one of the bonds, it only takes one, only one of the bonds is a double bond, then we have an unsaturated fat. And you've probably heard that before, the saturated versus unsaturated, okay? Well, that's what that means. Now we can further break this down as we look at the unsaturated fats. If there's only one double bond in the chain, then it is what's called a monounsaturated fat. But if there's more than one double bond in the chain, then it is called a polyunsaturated fat. Okay, so again, we can keep breaking this down. That's what that means. And I'm sure these, again, are terms that you've heard of, but you never knew exactly what they meant. Okay, so that's what that means. Polyunsaturated fats are a carbon chain with more than one double bond between the carbon links in between. All right, now we can break them down even further. So there are omega-3s, there are omega-5s, there are omega-6s, there are omega-7s, and there are omega-9s. That's kind of the family of the omega. So where do these numbers come from, you may be asking? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly where they come from. They have to do with where the first bond appears in the chain. So if the third carbon unit is where the first bond kind of groups there, then it's considered an omega-3. If it's the sixth bond that's affected sixth link that's affected by a bond, the first one in the chain, then it's an omega-6, and the same with the 7s and the 9s and the 5s. Okay, so where that bond happens, that first bond happens, if the first one in the sequence happens at number 3, it's an omega-3. Okay, if the first bond in the sequence happens on the 6th carbon unit, then again it's a omega-6. So that's what that is. All right. So now you understand kind of as we break this down from a chemistry standpoint, and I want you to realize carbon's very important. We are carbon-based life forms, right? That's what we are. Any of you sci-fi people out there that like watching movies about aliens and things. Oh, this being over here is not carbon based. There's something different. Yeah, well, that's because we are carbon based. We human beings, we are in fact carbon based. We wouldn't exist without carbon. So these omegas are very important, a very important piece of who we are. All right. So let's move forward from there now, and let's talk a little bit more about these healthy fats and the role that they play in our health. Because we are carbon-based, these omegas are very important to virtually every single body system that we have. And I want you to think about that for a minute. So our cardiovascular system is the omegas are very important for supporting our cardiovascular system. So heart, blood vessels, all that, very much tied, the health of those very much tied to our omegas. Our skeletal system, again, our immune system, again, all these systems are hugely dependent upon our omegas. We are that carbon, we have to have that. So it's very important that we take that. Now there's another body system, and this is the one I really want to point out to you. Our brains are made up of a very high percentage of fat. In fact, about 8% of our brains are made up of what's called DHA, which is a particular type of omega-3 fatty acid. So our brains, 8% is pure fatty acid. I mean, that should tell you that it's also very important for our cognitive development and function. And very important. So this is one of the things I always, when people ask me about prenatal and postnatal vitamins and supplements, I always say, first and foremost, make sure you're getting your omegas in. Because an expectant mother, if she's taking her omegas, those are going to get passed through to the baby she's carrying. Those omegas will help the brain development and the nervous system development and all the other systems for that matter of the baby. So that is so very important. And when the expectant mother has her baby later and later on, if she's breastfeeding, those omegas will again pass through her breast milk to the baby. So the baby will constantly be getting that omega support. And that is so hugely important. So please, expectant mothers and mothers that have recently had their babies, please make sure you're getting your omegas. Very, very important for the health of your baby and for the development of your baby. So, but it doesn't end there. Omegas are important throughout our entire lifespan. It's one of the most critical things that we can take. Now, I want to point out something here, and if you have not watched the previous 3 videos I did on the Alpha CRS Plus, please go back and watch those, because this goes back, because this is part of a sequence, and you're going to get the best bang for your buck here if you watch it from the beginning. So one of the things I talked about in the Alpha CRS Plus was that we have what's called acetyl L-carnitine in that, which helps deliver certain nutrients into the mitochondria for energy production. So guess what nutrient acetyl L-carnitine specifically delivers? Long-chain fatty acids. So DHA is one long-chain fatty acid. For example, I believe DHA has 22 carbons. EPA has, I believe, 20 carbons. Both of these are pretty long-chain fatty acids. So these are things that the Alpha CRS Plus delivers directly into your right into your mitochondria for producing energy, not just energy so that we can get up and move and cognitive development, stuff like that, but also supports our immune system. All these different things, supports our cellular strength, our cellular membranes, countless of things that I don't have time to go into today right now, but it's very huge. It's very, very important for your health. So I hope you just get that message. If nothing, I don't care if you remember all the details of what omegas are for or not, but understand when you go away from this video, I hope that you do understand just how important these omegas are. They are so critical for who we are and what we are, and for our continued health and development. So I think that's about it for now. That's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Tomorrow we're going to talk about more of the sourcing. We're going to get more into the EPA and the DHA, and break down some little bit more information on these omegas. And we're going to try to get that. It may not be tomorrow, maybe the next day. But anyway, my next video, I'll share that information with you. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Come and join us at one of our workshops here at Inspiration Wood Wellness Club in Northwest Indiana. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram. Follow us in those places. And as always, we wish you wellness. Have a good day.